Cloud. Okay. All right. Here we are. We're ready to go. It is 7:05 p.m. Good evening, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Hope everyone had a wonderful, wonderful day. Hope everyone is staying safe, staying home as much as you can, going out when you need to. My name is Karen Mitchell, and this is another episode in Ask the Experts, a real estate talk series. Now, as you know, if you've been following me, I do not always talk about real estate, even though I am a realtor. I do like to provide education in areas that will help anyone that needs to have questions about anything. My last series was on homeowners insurance, the importance of having homeowners insurance, and we had some people that joined and some people that watched the webinar afterwards. We want to again thank Adrian for being our speaker and providing some valuable information on that. And so this week, I thought about providing some information on savings, right? Because I get a lot of people asking about saving for down payment. You know, their budgets, they're so tight that they're not able to do that. There are a lot of folks are looking at the down payment assistance program provided by the cities and the counties here in Broward County, but you know, those funds are not bottomless, they're kind of limited. So I thought I would have my business partner who normally also do my in-person first-time home buyers classes with me. And of course, as you know, we had to stop those because of COVID-19. We had the last one in February, the one in March was canceled. I thought I would have Andrew to come on to the webinar and just talk a little bit about financial management and provide some strategies on how to best manage your finances, save for the future. He provides insurance policies, how to protect your loved ones in case something happened. If you have a home, how to protect the home if you know you lose someone, how to be able to keep your home. Planning for the future. You have kids that are going to college, how to help to plan for that, how to just secure your future period. You know, he'll be providing you some good financial strategies on how to do that. So Andrew Hardie is here with us, and Andrew is with Primerica. Now, this is not a recruiting, I made sure I put that in my ad. This is not a recruiting event to recruit you to join Primerica, but if you feel compelled afterwards to do so, please. But this is not the reason for this webinar today. Andrew has been with Primerica for a little bit over 4 years. Andrew used to be, and I told you I was gonna mention it and I forgot. Tell me what is it again? Because I have.
Biomedical research scientist.
Andrew used to be a biomedical research scientist. And I guess one day he just got up and said, oh, you know what? I'm going to go into finance. I'm just going to help people with their finances. So without further ado, if you're on the call with us, if you're in the Zoom with the room with us, thank you for joining. If you're joining us on Facebook and watching, thank you for joining. I hope you stay for the duration. This will be on Facebook for as long as needed. It will be on my page. It will also be on my YouTube page, and Andrew will have a copy to have on his social media as well. At the end of this, you will have our contact information if you have any questions. Most of your questions, of course, will be directed to Andrew because he's the expert here. So feel free to reach out to him. You can put your questions in the chat if you have questions. And so with that, I'm going to turn this over to Andrew. Andrew, thank you so much for taking the time this evening to join us. Thank you for being my business partner for the last few months. I thank you so much for being there with me. And you can go ahead and get started when you're ready.
No problem. Thank you very much, Karen. And it's a pleasure to be here. I thank you for inviting me to share with folks some concepts on finances. And listen, let me, before I even start, let me just go ahead and just point out that I really do appreciate what it is that you're doing, because as you said, you're bringing people in, and it's not just from a real estate standpoint, because that's not who you are. What you do is you look at the overall person, and that's one of the things that I really like about you, the fact that you're concerned about everything about your clients. Buying a house is only a part of it. And so you are doing a real service, or a real good service for the community, I should say.
Thank you, Andrew.
So I
I do
definitely
what I
want
can.
to mention that.
Thanks.
So you mentioned the fact that people approach you and say, hey, I'm saving for a house. And the saving for the house, or they're looking for ways of getting some monies to be able to put down as a down payment for the house. That is a small tip of the issue for that person and for everybody, because you not having the amount of money that you need already saved is part of your entire financial picture. So you ask yourself, okay, if I don't have this, what else is it that I probably need to give a little tweak in my financial life, a little tune up? And that is essentially what I'm here to go over. That is the kind of things that I provide. So what I do is I take a holistic approach, an educational approach to people with their financial questions, let's just say. And it is from one aspect, I don't even know how to budget, Andrew. I don't even know how to do that. My credit cards and my credit score are like, I don't even want to talk about it. So I'll talk to a person like that and say, hey, listen, let's go through it. And by the way, my services are complimentary, always is. We sit down and we talk about your finances. We just talk. And we'll take a look at your debt situation, your awareness of where your money is going. And in a lot of cases, people don't know exactly where their money is going. And all of a sudden, at the end of the month, or should I say at the end of their money, the month isn't finished yet. Mm-hmm. So that is one of the issues. And so we take a pretty good look at that, and we move on from there. Can we help you to reduce your auto insurance? Can we help you to reduce, to show you how to get rid of your credit card bills? Can we give you a strategy on how to start saving? Maybe you're paying too much for this, that, or the other. Maybe, a lot of different things are going on, and we look at everything.
Right.
And so let's see, where should we start?
Do you want to just do your presentation then, and just run through that, and then if we have questions?
Yeah. Let's
okay.
At least it'll keep me on track.
Right. That's fine.
Okay. So let's. Okay. So Karen, you can see my page, right?
Yes, I can.
So as Karen said, I work for Primerica. My name is Andrew Hardie. I am a registered representative of PFS Investments, which is Primerica and also the investment arm of Primerica. My office is located in Coral Springs, and that is how you can reach me. Easiest and fastest way is by my cell phone. Always have that. So please definitely feel free, if you have any additional questions after this is over, to go ahead and give me a call. If you know anybody who probably needs to have a talk with a financial coach, then obviously I'll be more willing to talk with them also. So who is Primerica? Some people, sometimes I'm surprised at the fact that people haven't heard about it, and sometimes I'm surprised that people have heard of people who have heard of it. We don't do any national advertising, so that's the first thing. We are got started in 1977. We are listed on the New York Stock Exchange, so we are a publicly traded company. Here is what we do. We have an association. We have a business relationship with all these different companies, and what we do is we use these companies in order to craft a financial strategy for individuals and small businesses. So we will work with these companies, and these are pretty large companies. These are multi-billion-dollar companies, multi-trillion-dollar companies in some cases. And we work with them to craft an investment strategy, annuities, a 401k plan. So for instance, for a small business, I can walk into a small business and say, hey, listen, do you have a 401k plan? And sometimes I'll get, no, Andrew, I think it would actually be good because it would increase or improve the owner, the owner and an employee relationship. Or maybe I might hear, Andrew, we do have one, but boy, I don't like them at all. We can bring somebody in. And these are the big players currently in the market in the 401k space. AXA, which you more than likely have heard of, and Voya. We offer life insurance as an integral part of the entire strategy for people. We use a company that we can use to reduce your auto insurance. Vivint, home security system, legal protection. We're affiliated with a company called Legal Shield. And so we use these companies to craft a solution, as I said. Now, the problem with money is that it doesn't come with an instruction manual. And this is a real problem. We have no manual on how to do it. Everything else comes with an instruction manual except for your paycheck, right? Investments. Do people, more than half of Americans have less than $1,000 in savings. And there are very good reasons in some cases for it, but in other cases, it's just because they haven't talked to somebody like myself who can show them that it is possible. 75% of Americans admit that they should have started saving for retirement way before they actually did. Debt, a mountain of debt. Lots of us are affected by this, and this is an easily solvable situation. Although when you're in it, it doesn't feel like it. Income, lots of people they live paycheck to paycheck and they don't have enough income to live comfortably. It causes anxiety. Protection. Lots of people, 70% of the household would feel a financial impact of the loss of a primary wage earner in 2 years, or way less in a lot of cases. And nearly half of the households don't have enough life insurance. Lots of people say, Andrew, no, I have life insurance from my job. And that is wholly not enough at all. And it is only usually for the employee, not the employee's spouse. So the problem is that people don't plan to fail. You hear this before. They just fail to come up with a plan. They fail to sit down and plan before they move forward. And that is my job, to sit with the client and plan out a future for them. Wherever you are financially and wherever you need to get to, first of all, we establish where you are and we find out where you want to get to, and we plot a course to get there. Now, what do you need, Andrew? So, okay, all right, talk to me, just tell me, what do I need to do? Well, 3 major accounts that you need to have. Your regular emergency fund, which is your checking account, your savings account. Whenever anything pops up, you should have enough money in that account to hold you off for between 3 to 6 months of your expenses. What does that mean? Well, in a situation like what we're in right now, a lot of people are realizing that that they should have had an emergency fund, or their emergency fund is not enough. Imagine you are put on furlough or you can't work for 2 months, which is not a stretch because we just went through it. Imagine if you had enough money in your emergency fund to be able to withstand 6 months of not working. That is the goal. Then the next step is short-term savings. And the final step is long-term savings. Short-term savings is if you have a project within the next 2, 3, 5 years. And that is where I cross over with Karen. This is where you'd be saving for your house. And so I set things up and find out how much I can get into this thing so that we can get you into that house that Karen is going to provide for you. Long-term savings, this is your retirement. And we should really concentrate on that. As you saw on a few slides before, the older folk, you talk to older folk and they say, man, I really wish I had started earlier. But you talk to the younger folk and they don't think about it. So this is the issue that we have to work with. Rule of 72, it's a banker's rule. I'm not going to go through it, but suffice it to say that where you put your money to invest really, really, really matters. And to see how much it matters, look at the bottom figure. In a 3% account, after 48 years, you have $40,000. And a 6% growth account, after 48 years, so imagine if an account was set up when you were born, you'd have 160,000. But if you had put your money in a 12% growth account, then your life has changed, would have been changed, will be changed. So we don't learn these things in school. This is called a banker's rule, and we teach it. We will, and that's a large part of what we do is education. Just a humorous thing, a toaster. Imagine a toaster in your house, and every 1st of the month and 15th of the month, it pops up with $2,000. Pops up. Now, the question is,
I have a really nice toaster here. I wish it would pop up with something. I
now,
don't know. I spent a pretty little penny on that thing.
Yeah, and you know,
I'm still waiting for it to pop up with something.
I bet if it did, you'd make sure that nobody touches it, nobody goes near it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, would you insure that toaster, just in case if it broke, you have to you would get it fixed? Mm-hmm. And the only unfortunate thing is that there isn't such a toaster; it doesn't exist. But you are the toaster for your family. Every 1st of the month, every 15th of the month, you come home with your paycheck, and they depend on that. So if you would insure the toaster, then wouldn't it make sense to insure you, to insure your income? Yeah. This is a pretty stark slide, but it tells the truth. And this is exactly what happens. And this is what people need to stop for a second and think about. We all live paycheck to paycheck. So in this example, he brings home $3,500 a month. She brings home $3,500 a month, and living paycheck to paycheck. Guess what their monthly bills are? $7,000. Now, we live in South Florida. People drive crazy. What happens if he does not come home that night? This is where we need to have that conversation, because imagine, if you will, they had just bought a house from Karen. And if they had just bought their house from Karen, and a few months later, he doesn't come home, guess what's going to happen to that house with her only $3,000 and the bill still hovering around $7,000? They're going to lose that house, right? Yeah. And that's not what we want to have. What if there was a way that you could, at modest cost, not much, you could ensure that I can't bring him back, but I can bring back his salary, his input, his monthly income? What if you could do that? Then wouldn't you consider it? Wouldn't you talk about it? So life insurance, I'm not going to go into this too much, but there are wrong types of life insurance for you, and there are better types of life insurance for you. And that's a conversation that I would sit with you and I'd talk about how to save you some money on life insurance, how to make your life insurance work better for you. And sometimes it comes down to, after I talk with you, it comes down to a pretty simple choice, because it's quite clear if you have the right type or if you don't. And the good news is that if you don't have the right type, we can fix that. We can definitely fix that. So essentially what I talk with people about is, in the early days, you're young, you have high debt, you have a mortgage. At the end, I shouldn't say at the end, when you're older, at retirement, the children are grown, they're gone, you have much lower debt, and more than likely the mortgage is paid off. So we have to look at both ends of the spectrum. What if you died too soon? What would we have in place to ensure that your family still lives a good life? And what if you guys live too long? How would you ensure that you can retire with dignity and you can leave a legacy for your kids? So the next big thing, debt. Now, this is the part that that really gets to a lot of people, and they don't have to be, you don't have to be scared of this, because again, we can fix this. And that's, I guess, the biggest takeaway from all of this is that whatever situation you see yourself in and you think, oh my goodness, oh woe's me, it is, I'm in a bad situation, we can fix it. And so let's get some professionals into your life and see how we can work through this. So for debt, people believe it or not, that people believe that you can't, that being debt free is a myth. Nobody can be debt free. Yeah, it is not a myth. You can actually be debt free. And so that's one of the things that we talk about. And here's a classic example. Sometimes you say, man, January's coming around, let me get that big screen TV because I got to watch the game, or whatever it is. And you spend $3,000 on that TV, and at 18% interest, if you take 10 years to pay it off, which is a lot in a lot of cases, guess how much a TV actually cost you? And if you had seen this, that it was going to cost you $5,000, question is, would you have bought it? And so this is where you have to start thinking. We have strategies, and again, I'm not going to go too much into it, but we have strategies in helping you to make sure that your debt goes away as fast as possible. And in many cases, faster than you could think that it was possible. Next thing is budgeting. This is something that people, A, don't know about, B, don't want to hear about, and C, don't think that they can do it. Budgeting is not a dirty word. It's not a four-letter word. And there are simple steps in wrapping your head around a budget. So first of all, why even create a budget in the first place? Well, you need to get a grip on your spending. If there's more month at the end of your money, then you probably need to get a grip on your spending. You need to save for retirement or any special purchase. Case in point, a house, hint, hint. Know exactly where your hard-earned money goes. Lots of people, I hear that comment all the time. Boy, I don't know, the money just came into my hands and it just left. Well,
sometimes it's gone before it even got there.
You know, exactly. And that's a big clue, because it's like the money's being spent in areas that you don't even know and you may not even agree with. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why you should create a budget, and to avoid the debt trap. Because the bottom line is that if you don't have enough money to afford a certain thing, then you're going to want to use that plastic, the credit card. And when you do use it, then you're going to end up in the example that I just talked about the credit card and the TV. So we know why you should get a budget going. Now, the next step is to find out where your money is actually going. So you need to figure out where it's actually going to. You need to identify those things. And so you can say, hey, I probably don't want it to be going there. So here on this chart here, it gives numbers that aren't necessarily for you, but they're just exemplary numbers. Your numbers, again, might not be there, but this is just a general guideline. So once you have seen that guideline, seeing where most of your money should be and where a little bit of your money should be spent as opposed to a lot of your money, then put that on paper. Put where your money actually is going right now on paper. And you may say, as in this, you may say, which is another company that I keep getting, after looking at my numbers, after looking at where my money actually is going, I realized that I should stop dining out so much. I should stop, maybe cook some food in the evenings rather than stop by the fast food place or a restaurant. Maybe I should not get those fancy haircuts. Maybe I should just cut my own hair. Maybe I should, you start asking the questions, which is the biggest thing, which is the most important thing. Put it down so you can see it, so you can ask yourself the questions. Is that expenditure necessary? And once you've asked those questions, then you're well on your way. For people who sit with me, I'll actually give them, we actually have a booklet that talks about how money works. And it's filled with really, really great concepts. things that sometimes you just don't think about. But it's great information, and I'll give you a complimentary copy when I sit with you. So that is just a quick wrap up of some of the things that I do. We do a lot of different things. One of the questions that I keep getting is, what type of education savings plan should I get? That's a very good question. Should I get the Florida prepaid? Should I do a 529? Should I do a Coverdell? What should I do? Well, it depends on your situation. It depends on a lot on what's going on in your financial life. And we'll sit down, we'll go through it, and we'll figure out which one you should take advantage of. Lots of questions about that area. A lot of questions about investments. Where should I invest my money? How should I even, I don't have that much to invest. I go to the bank and they tell me that I have to open up an investment account for $1,000. I can't even start that. We have strategies. And the bottom line is, it is easier, way easier than you think. So talk to a financial professional. Give me a call. We'll talk.
Okay. So I know you didn't want to get into, thanks for the presentation, Andrew. I know you didn't want to get into a lot of the strategies, but on the paying off the debt, what is one simple or one that's, one explanation of a strategy that you've used with someone that you can run through really quick that anyone that's watching, may find beneficial?
Well, the first and foremost is to stop using the cards. Stop using the cards. And that comes out of seeing where your money is going. And so we can try to provide monies for you to use without having to put more money on the cards. Because again, your money is sinking. Imagine, because you keep paying interest, right? So imagine your money is sinking at a rate of 18% or 24% or 27%, which is on those cards. So that's one thing. But a good strategy, what we do is we take a look at all of your cards and we say, do you pay any extra on this one, any extra on this one? And what we find, a lot of people, they put a little bit more on this one because they want this one to go down faster because it's higher or whatever. And we have a piece of software that will actually tell us, tell you which one we should focus on first. So one strategy is to take all those extra payments that you're paying on this card or that card or that card and put them together on one card. So everybody else, we're paying minimum, just the minimum payments, but on one of those cards, one of those debts, we're paying all the extra stuff on.
Okay. Give Cece the option to speak if she needs to, please.
Okay.
Okay, Cece, hi, how are you?
I'm good.
I'm not sure how much of that you caught, but if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask them. If you came here with questions, and even if you missed some of it, just go ahead and ask your question.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Mr. Hardie, my question is, okay, I work full time and of course paycheck to paycheck. So for someone that don't work for a company that offer the 401k or anything investments, how can a person like me go about starting something like that then for retirement or an emergency fund?
Excellent question. Now, a couple of different things wrapped up in that very same question. you are contributing to your company's 401k. One of the questions that we'd ask when I sit with you, I'd ask is, let's try to figure out by looking at statements and stuff like that, how is your 401k performing? Is it performing as well as you would like, or as well as you think it is performing? And if it isn't, then what we need to do is to take a look at a couple of different things. Are they matching any funds with you? Are you paying way over? Are you putting in, contributing much more than the match than the match requires?
I'm sorry, 1 second. I'm not contributing any more to it. So
Okay.
that's the question for someone who's not contributed anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That, and also want to save towards, a first, a home in the future, like maybe, like you said, 2 to 5 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
So should I just let it, how do you go about benefiting from it when you're not with a company anymore?
Oh, so you're not with the company anymore?
No.
Okay. All right. So now the reason why you're not contributing, is it because you're living paycheck to paycheck, or is it because you're not there anymore?
I'm not there anymore.
Okay, excellent. So what we could do is we could take a look at, you see, the 401k is a retirement account, correct?
Correct.
It is made for your retirement. Well, one of the things that the government has allowed us to do is to have this thing called an individual retirement account. It's called an IRA.
Okay.
Right? So what we would need to do is we would need to take that 401k, whatever funds that are in it, and roll it over into your own personal IRA.
Okay.
Now, what I could do is, again, this is all complimentary. We would sit down and we could go through what your needs are and try to figure out the best type of IRA for you, based on performance, based on your risk averseness, based on what your goals are.
Okay.
And we would determine the best IRA for you, so you can roll that old 401k into that. Then it would start growing at the rate that you'd like, because we chose it. And
Right.
then you could contribute to it.
Okay.
And so with that, because she's creating an individual IRA, she can put money in it if she finds it, right?
If she finds it. And that's one of the things that we would do. We would sit
Right,
down and try to find some money for you.
That's the scary part, I just don't want to just walk up into any bank and say, okay, here's my money. Can you put it into something for me? And then,
No, they
that's scary, especially now,
Yeah, you need to take a hard look at where you want to put it in.
Right.
And like I said, there are criteria that you should employ to figure out where to put that money in, and we could do that, definitely.
So also another question, you were talking about the emergency funds.
Mm-hmm.
So how much is considered a good amount of emergency fund, or it depends on your finances, your debt, all of that? So what's a good amount of an emergency fund and an account would be a good amount to start?
Well, I mean, it's definitely individual. It's definitely based on who you are and what your accounts look like. A rule of thumb, if you will, it says, figure out what your monthly expenses are with everything, and multiply that by 3 and multiply it by 6. So somewhere between 3 and 6 times what your monthly expenses are is what you should keep in that emergency account.
Okay. So,
for instance, Andrew, talk to me. Give me for instances. Okay, all right. So let's say your monthly expenses are $3,000. I spend $3,000 every month on stuff, electricity, food, water, whatever. And so multiply that by 3, that's $9,000. Multiply by 6, that's $18,000. $18,000. So you need to have between 9 and 18,000. Me personally, I would tend to want to lean towards the higher value, the 18.
Wow. That's almost a
Yeah.
down payment on a house.
Well, you see,
Well, if
that's
you
where
don't
we would.
need it, right? If you have the money, if you do what Andrew says and you follow that savings guideline and you come up with the 18,000 and nothing happens during this time, and now it's time for you to buy your house and the money's there, then there you go.
Yeah.
Right, Andrew?
Exactly. Now imagine, Celicia, imagine if you had 18,000, right? And that's 6 times your, and imagine you've been saving a little bit for the house, and you come to a point where, okay, Karen, help me. I've got whatever, $10,000 in my house money. And Karen says, well, you need a little bit more than that. You probably need like 12 or 14 or something like that. Imagine if you had the 18, you could take off 9 off of that 18 and drop it in there, and you still have 9,000, which is still
You'll have 9,000 left. Imagine. I think we lost her. I think her phone's probably giving her some issues. I'm sure she'll be back. Cece, did you have any questions? Did you unmute her?
I did.
I thought I heard her.
Ask her, Cece, can you unmute yourself? I'm trying, but it's not working. Let me pass control to you, Karen.
She lost the connection. She just texted. So she'll probably come back.
Okay. All right. So now you are the host. And
yeah, sometimes this doesn't want to work, but I'm sure if she had a question, she'd probably raise her hand.
okay.
And I think she can also unmute herself. Okay. So let's wait to see if Cecilia is going to come back. And Cece, did you have questions? You want to put it in the chat? Maybe if you can't, I don't want to close out if you had a question, if you can hear me, hopefully.
No, I'm all right. Thank you.
Okay. You saw my email. Did you get this through my email I sent you?
Yes.
Well, what made you decide to want to join? There had to be a reason. You saw it, something popped into your head.
Yeah, just to get information on the finance side. With everything going on, I just wanted to get some education, just what are your options, with work, some businesses shutting down work and all that stuff. So just looking at, different ways to better manage my money.
Okay.
Okay, so maybe you can provide some tips on that. I'm not sure if she doesn't want to get specific, but you are still working, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so maybe you can provide some general tips then, Andrew, on how to better manage your money.
Well, so the thing about it is that this is a time of crisis. And what the crisis brings with it is the realization of certain things. Now, one of the things that, a lot of people, especially in my community, in Jamaican community, we talk about always having another job or a side hustle or something like that. And so this is a time to when your main job in a lot of people's cases has been impacted, to see if you can find something to provide you with some income aside from the main job. And in a lot of cases, people don't have necessarily the time, but that's one way of trying to offset, because the thing about it is that you have two issues at play. How much money is coming into the household, which is the job, and if there are any other side hustles or anything that you could add to that to bring more income in. And the second part is, what is happening to the money inside the house? Where's the money going? And we can take a look at that. Is there any way that you can save money on your auto insurance, let's say? What are some of the things that you are actually paying for? In a lot of cases, I do go to people's homes and we talk about what they have for life insurance. And maybe they're paying too much. We don't know, but it's worth looking into. So there, like I said, there are two issues: the money coming in your case, and also what's happening to the money once it comes in. So those are two pieces that you need to look at. Can I bring more money in a time like this? And can I tighten down on where the money is going once it does come in the house?
So the first step she needs to do is probably create a budget. Do you have a budget, Cece?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So yeah, probably just take a look at the budget and see what you can snip, what you can cut.
And sometimes it's a hard decision. It's a hard decision. At one point in time in my life, I had to ask my daughter, "Do you really need to watch Nickelodeon?" Because Nickelodeon is not on the rabbit ear antenna. So, but these are decisions that you have to. When that time comes, you need to take a really critical look at your budget and see where you can shave off. Remember, the budget is a tool. The use of the budget is A, tell you where your money is going, but also B, it tells you where you can cut because you're looking at it. And so the budget should always be a living, breathing document. If you spend X amount of money on electricity, let's say, last month, don't think that as a brick wall. Ask yourself, can I cut back on that? If I spend X amount on this, can I cut back on that?
Yeah. Do you have anything else, Cece? Anything else on your mind?
No, nothing for now.
Okay. And like he said, his consultation is complimentary. So take advantage of it. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. Call him up. Andrew, remember me. This is Cece. I was on the call. Remind him, you said this was free. We could talk. Here's where I am and here's where I like to go, right? And, take advantage of that and see if that helps you. This is the reason why we're having this webinar.
Yeah.
Especially in times like this.
Right.
If you need the help is there.
The help is there, and just ask the question. And
just ask the question.
Ask the question. Just ask the questions.
Miss Cecilia, are you back?
Yeah, she's back.
Okay. I can say it again.
I'm back.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I guess I need a computer. There goes an investment. A computer. That's next in my budget.
Help her get this into her budget.
And we can fit into your budget. We can figure things out, because guess what? People say, okay, I need a computer. Now, what type of computer do you need? And what's the purpose of the computer? Because you can go buy a laptop that's a gaming laptop, and the salesman will tell you, oh, this is the fastest thing. It'll make sure that, and he'll give you a lot of information and leads you to buy a laptop that costs $2,000. Question is, what are you going to be using it for? Are you going to be using it for gaming, or are you going to be using it to do spreadsheets, do Zooms, that kind of stuff? Because you can find one like that for $700
or less,
definitely. You can find a good Chromebook for $200, right?
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Okay.
Did you have any other questions, Cecilia, before we close out?
No, just I would like to eventually meet up with Mr. Hardie and get things rolling, get
Okay.
things going.
Yeah.
Even, you know, my future. and also to be able to help my mom, because she's going to be 65 this month. Bless her. So that's my focus too. I don't have any children, so
Okay.
that's
Well,
All right. Any closing tips, freebies you want to give out, Andrew, to our listeners?
Closing tips, freebies. Two things. Take a look at your home, not your homeowners, your auto insurance, and your homeowners insurance for that matter also, but take a look at your auto insurance and do that frequently. Do it every 6 months, because they change rates and people change things. And I've seen people save $200 a month by changing their auto insurance. Now, imagine if you had $200 extra each month. What would that do? What would that make your budget look like? What would that make your finances look like? So,
now, what about credit cards? Can you like call your credit card companies and ask them for lower interest rates and stuff like that to lower your bill? Can you do that?
that would be a conversation that probably best with a credit
Repair person.
repair person.
Okay.
What I do is I give you a strategy. I'm not gonna help you to negotiate a lower rate. I'm gonna give you a strategy to get rid of the card in the first place.
Okay, so you're gonna put them you're gonna help them develop like a plan as to how to get rid of the debt.
Get rid of that payment.
Okay.
It's gonna take a little bit of discipline and a little bit of time, but yeah, we can definitely get rid of those cards. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, it is 7:52. We want to just thank everyone that joined, everyone that watched us on Facebook. We had a few visitors on Facebook to watch the live. The feed will be out on Facebook on my page at Karen Mitchell Realtor. So if you have any questions, my contact information is, my phone number is 954-488-1071. My email address is karen@karenmitchellpa.com, and my website is the same, karenmitchellpa.com. Andrew, you can provide your contact information for if anyone wants to.
All right. It's Andrew Hardie, Hardie with the IE at the end, Hardie. My phone number is the fastest, easiest way to get in touch with me is 954-609-7166. Email, you can get in touch with me at andrewhardie19@gmail.com.
Thank you. So I hope everyone found this information to be helpful. Again, Andrew is providing complimentary consultation if you need help with budgeting, saving, life insurance, anything financial. Please give him a call. If you are watching this at a later time, tell them Karen Mitchell sent you. He knows who I am. And he will provide you with the best service possible. My next episode, I'm excited about this. I got confirmation today. I'm actually waiting for a time. We're going to have Mrs. Carolyn Hicks, Washington, who is the housing coordinator. You know her, you're smiling. Who is the housing coordinator at the Urban League of Broward County. Now, Ms. Hicks and I go way back, well, to last year. So I was originally slated to do the first-time homebuyer seminar at the Urban League June 27th, but because of COVID-19, you know, he just comes and just messes everything up. Of course, that got canceled. A lot of people are still, you know, having questions about down payment assistance, how they take a class. Personally, I have sent out the virtual link to a lot of people. So I'm not sure if people are taking advantage of the virtual class instead of you sitting in a class for 8 hours, which is what it was there at the league. Now you just sit at home and you go through the class at your own pace. Mrs. Washington have agreed to be my next speaker on Ask the Experts, a real estate talk series. And this is probably going to happen on July 25th, which is 2 weeks from now, Thursday evening, July 23rd, 2 weeks from now, Thursday evening at 7 p.m. So please look out for the flyer for all the people who need down payment assistance, all the people who need the information. She'll be here. So I'm excited about that. I was able to reach her today and she confirmed that she can do it. So that's it, everyone. I thank you so much again for joining. I thank you ladies in the call in the room with us. Thank you for your questions. I hope you learned something, and please do not forget to call Andrew for your free consultation. Andrew, thank you so much. Everyone, be safe out there. Continue to be safe. Stay safe. Take care of yourself and your family, and have a wonderful evening. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Hi.